Hey, good evening and welcome to DJNTV tonight. This is live. That's right. You're seeing Brian Red and Jay Brannan live tonight.
Are we on YouTube?
We are.
We're live.
We are live. This is like
Wow.
YouTube and Facebook. And so you're not having to wait until like Thursday or Friday to see the Tuesday night recording. We're doing it.
Sweet. Now I'm going to monitor it on YouTube. So
Yes,
I
you
can...
Doing it live. We're doing it live.
So tonight, the topic, gentlemen, and I want to try to keep this to about a half an hour with our topic this evening. I want to talk about the requests. We take requests at events, and we've been doing that forever, but there's times where it's very difficult for whatever reason to have requests brought to us. And of course, some of, recently people, the whole COVID concern, stay back and that kind of thing. But over the years, we've done teen dances, we've done other events where we just haven't been able to take requests as we would like. And I wanted to kind of have you guys share a little bit what kind of things you've done in the past. And what really brought this up is this past weekend, I used Brandon's instant DJ request, and it did some things. The software, it allowed for a couple of things that was unexpected to me. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But let's kind of jump back, Jay. When you were doing some of these events where, whether it's loud or whatever, what kind of things have you done beyond just having to come up and yell in your ear?
A lot of times what I find works best for me is being sympathetic with the fact that people want to hear something, and I know it's important to them, and I'm there to support them.
Yes.
Whenever possible, I'm... you know what? For school events, I listened to a wise man, whether it was Brian, somebody, and I put a notebook out with a pen and had kids write it down, and I would run over and get the notebook. For weddings and things, I made it a very early on policy about not letting people give me their phone. Because the famous thing is like, hey, can you play this song? Hey, it's on my phone.
Oh, that's the worst.
And I've always maintained I don't have the cable. Even though I do have the cable. Is that Lowe's him? I do have the cable for my phone. But I don't have the cable for their phone. I've always been respectful. I've always said, I'm really sorry I don't have that. Or, I love Barry Manilow, and I think Mandy would be great. I am playing LMFAO right now, and I have some other high BPM tracks loaded, but maybe later, if it fits, I'd be happy to consider that for a request and play it for you. And they hear so many words come at them that they're like, oh, cool, man, thank you. I don't want anybody mad at me at an event, guest or not. So I've always used diplomacy as my approach.
So you've had those times though where people have been, they come up and they're trying to, hey, and I want a song, and you're like, okay, what song? And especially if they're not giving you the proper lyric or the proper name of the song. I mean,
apple bottom jeans.
As an example.
Yeah.
You said the notebook thing with it, but that can't be a foolproof thing either. I wouldn't guess.
You know what? I found it worked well at school events because the logic to me was, even if I don't play the request, now I have a roadmap of what kids want to hear so that I can go back to my music and look at it and say, I don't have these 6 songs. Do I really need them? Mm-hmm. If I'm going to do events with kids, then yeah, I probably do need them. Requests are a funny thing. I'm very competitive at my events. I try my best to have people dancing during dancing so that people don't feel obligated to come up. I'm probably wrong, and Brian may disagree, you may disagree. I always feel like requests are either from 2 camps. I'm so excited, and if I hear this song, it'll make me even more excited. Or nobody's dancing, and I'm going to help the DJ by telling him how to do his job. And I understand that. I myself, I'm a little laid back. I'm not going to come in the next day and tell you how to make my Big Mac. But if you feel the need to explain to me how, this Drake song no one else but you knows would be the greatest thing on this earth, I get it. But yeah, requests are always a slippery slope. Because there's ones that you always feel good saying, like, oh, if you get a chance, if they're polite and nice, if you get a chance, could you play AC/DC Shook Me All Night Long? You know what? That's a great choice. When I play faster music later, I'd be happy to play that. And if they feel good that you played it, great. I would have played it already, whatever.
So Brian, let's jump over. We've got you're in a situation where you're doing a dance for junior hires, what have you, younger kids, And for those of us who are over the age of 30, sometimes it's really tough to understand what these kids are saying, whether it's a lyric thing that they, or whatever. What have you used that has worked for you to be able to get requests in situations where you're like, okay, I can't hear you, what's going on, or whatever the situation is?
Well, like Jay said, I mean, for the high schools, that's my thing, the notebook. And it does a few different things. First of all, it keeps kids away from me, because if I allow requests to come to me during something like a school event, you've got 50 kids who want to ask for songs, and you don't have any time to concentrate on anything else you're doing. Your mix, nothing. So you're just constantly, and then you can't constantly retain you can't reasonably retain all of it, because there's so many different things coming at you. So if they write it down, it's great. Now you do get the obnoxious kid that takes a whole page and writes, whatever, Cardi B, it's an entire page. It says it's Cardi B. Or you get the kid who just writes it repetitiously in several different sizes, and you're going to look at that and you're going to say, oh, wow, a lot of kids want to hear it. It's the same handwriting. You get that. But, I think sometimes I have to ask them to repeat it slowly. I had a client meeting on Sunday over the phone. It's for I guess it's May 8th gig I have coming up. And I thought, sure, they told me that they wanted to hear a song by Keith Sweat. I'm like, right on. I know Keith's old school. We're right on, Like, the S is spelled with a $sign. I'm like, no, it's not, but whatever, They wanted Pink Sweat.
Different song.
Very different stuff.
Different version.
Very different than
Not
Keith
the same.
Sweat. Here I think I'm doing Just a Touch of Love or something, and it's something way over here. So, yeah, I don't know. It's
How old are these people?
Probably
18?
early 20s.
Oh, okay.
No, probably early 20s. And they're healthcare workers. I know that. So they're nurses. They've gone to nursing school. They're probably early to mid 20s, I would guess. Okay. Really nice. But it was like for a grand entrance song or something. They wanted this.
Oh, okay.
But, I thought sure it was Keith Sweat because I'm old, I'm like, oh, right on. But yeah, no, Pink Sweat with a $sign. So very different.
Keith Sweat, he used to work with Benny Goodman. I've got a lot of his stuff on vinyl.
That would be great.
I've got a 78 of him with Louis Armstrong. I'll play that during a reception.
You're gonna love it.
Oh, it's terrible, isn't it?
Johnny Haynes mentions in the chat request slips, and I'm thinking back in the early days when we had the karaoke and we would do that, and it had the little sign up things, and we got to how about we do this and put these little sign up slip things, but for music requests. Have you guys ever done something like that at weddings or something where they
we used to do it all the time back in the old days. We used to have these. It was pretty cool. It was request cards. It was, you put them on every table. You put like a pile of them on every table, and it would say song, artist, whatever. And then there was a perforated tear off of your business card. So if they liked you, they could keep the business card, and you wouldn't accept a request card without the business card torn off of it, kind of thing, And people could write whatever they wanted on there. And it was fun to keep those and go back and look at them, to see what people wanted that you didn't have, or, even stuff you didn't play. Just, well, I don't know this, and just, check it out or whatever. Yeah, that was a thing, like back in the 80s and early 90s.
Early 90s, yeah.
Not a bad idea. I don't know why we got away from it. Really.
See, man, I think it was the control factor. I think there's that, I've been using DJ Intelligence since 2003. So I've used my music as a online request tool for the majority of my private events since then. And I've always said, if you've got requests coming in from other people you want to mention, I find it with holiday parties. You get 40 songs requested and they run the gamut from Cardi B to Louis Armstrong, and I'm like, oh, you asked everyone in the office, and they're like, how did you know?
Right.
Like, because you don't look like a Cardi and Louis fan,
right?
Yeah. It's, I mean, I tragically want to use Brannan's app. The problem is, the majority of my events are in a valley where I can't text you and have you get it.
Yep.
So I haven't really gone down the road of man, if I was on an app with a QR and people could come up and snap it, because I think now we talked to him in June or May.
Probably.
It was somewhere, sometime in the summer last.
It was sometime early summer, and we'd already gone through a little bit of the QR code, but we're starting to open up more out here. You can't go anywhere now that doesn't demand you open a QR code.
Mm-hmm.
Like for something that was dead 5 years ago, QR codes are all the rage. So I think it's a great idea if you have that availability to say, hey, take a picture of this on my sign, on my facade, on my DJ skirt, on whatever, and send me a request and monitor it that way. But like I said, I'm knowing up front, I can't, and I tell my clients at this one venue, don't even come to me the day of the wedding and say you forgot a song. Because I'm just telling you, the chances are better than not I won't be able to get online. So let's approach it like there is no internet during your reception.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this
I like that.
at the past wedding, this is actually, I just put the little sheet together that we put on the tables. That QR code, it was interesting because 10 years ago, no one knew what it was. 5 years ago, it started to die again.
Right.
Now, I had grandmothers who knew exactly what to do with the QR code. Their 70s and 80s. They were pulling out their phone and zapping the QR code, and they're like, "Oh, look what it does! It makes this little thing pop up." And it was interesting.
It's really expanded. I had to have after you guys know I changed my wife's flat tire the other day. I had to go get tires. I get to my tire dealer where I normally would walk in. Hey, how's it going? Here's my name. Here's my account. I need to get this. Nope. QR code. Tell them the vehicle, what I'm doing, my name, and then it puts me in a queue. Wait 5-10 minutes and someone comes out. Jay? I'm like, yeah, right here. Hey, what can we do for you today? And at first I was like,
wow,
this is a royal pain. Like, this is so impersonal. But, I only had to wait a few minutes. And I guess it was akin to if I'd gone inside and was standing in a long line, it was about the same thing.
Right.
So I still had the one-on-one service. My stay in Las Vegas 3 weeks ago, pretty much everything I did was away from a person. Like, we've always they had kiosks at the Riviera, but now you don't get really near the counter, even though I did. And that's where I did the $20 trick and got the room upgrade. Tell you about that later.
They rejected me at Hooters for trying that.
I've had it fail twice.
The $20 trick?
Yes, the $20 trick has not worked for me twice so far.
They looked at me like I was the devil, and I think they downgraded me. Made my life worse.
Yeah,
I got upgraded to a corner room with double windows looking at the Bellagio fountain with a fridge, a bigger room. Like, she was like, I'll take care of you.
Take this back. We don't do that here.
Where were you? At Hooters?
Hooters.
Oh, so it was like with a cigarette hanging out of her mouth. Darling, we're not doing that here, kid. We've got cameras everywhere. Nice attempt. I'm working at Big Dan's later, right behind the Imperial Palace used to be. I'll be down there, working if you want to come down.
You notice it wasn't
Us for Trixie.
It wasn't much of a stretch for him to make that voice. That's what I.
No, it was pretty natural, actually.
No.
Yeah,
He's got that.
Every once in a while, when I do the, hey guys, coming up next on the main stage, Mercedes, they go, wow, you do that well. I'm like, yeah, you think?
It's like kiss my grits kind of thing going
Yeah.
on. I love it.
Yeah, a little bit of that going it.
Alice references. I don't think we've done an Alice reference.
and I got that one. That was a flow.
John's like, this is why we've been in the Zoom room for the chill room for the last month and a half. You two keep hijacking the show.
I was going to say we're staying on topic so well.
You want some more coffee, honey? Yeah.
So getting back to I used this on Saturday with the wedding, and what was interesting for me, and this is some area that I have struggled, is that as Minnesota's always been a very white state. Yes, they have a level of minorities, but it's been predominantly been a white state. But there are more ethnic groups that have been moving into the area. So, and the diversity is fabulous. It makes me feel like I'm in Vegas and other parts of the world now, instead of just being in this little weird
right.
area box that we typically are in. So it's fabulous. But a struggle for me is I struggle picking up some of the dialect, and when they're coming up and they're requesting a song. That has been tough for me to pick up, because either they're English is a second language and they're saying it so fast, or it's a song that this past weekend I had a couple of groups that were really into Latin music, and I in the past, I've had them come up and it's like, I'm sorry, can you type it in and into the search engine? You get to the point where you're just floundering. And it was cool this weekend because they were able to zap it with a phone, and the way Brandon's got it set up where it goes, and after the fifth letter, it starts to guess.
Yeah.
And then they send the request up, and it's like, it's all typed out. It's all spelled correctly, or the way that the song is.
That's perfect.
It's like, oh my gosh, where was this thing for the last, that hadn't even thought about it from that standpoint, but working with other groups like that, even the teenage girls, when one of them, she came up and it wasn't that loud, but she had a very high pitched voice. It doesn't work for me to hear that as well. And I understood, but she went in the second time and she scanned it and she sent it up, and then she came up and said, "Did you get my request?" And it's like, well, yes. And it was much easier this way than it was the other way. So
I've been bringing Blanca to any kind of Latin event for years because of that.
Yeah.
Because I know the music, but I don't know. I can say Enrique Iglesias and Blanca's a completely different instrument, sound like something else. So when people come up to me and request songs, who are Mexican or Dominican or whatever, it's like, what did they just say? And like, oh, they said this spelt like that. Oh, okay. I've literally had an interpreter there for me to do that.
Yeah.
Because I've needed it.
You do phonics. You don't want to, and I said this to somebody at Serato. I said, it would be great if you could say the history search. And they go, what do you mean? I said, I'm over here in San Diego County area. I've got a ton of requests that are Latin music, and I'm typing in, what is it? A la cosita e bailar? Okay. La co seat la cosita bailar. I don't know. I don't think I have it.
Right.
Yeah. Versus, like the next day, I would love to be able to have that text file sent to me. Mm-hmm. Go to Google and start typing, where Google will correct it and go, I think you meant this song by Enrique Iglesias, and I can go, aha, that's the one.
The fun part is when you add alcohol to that.
And
exactly, and that's
like I've said,
drinking.
Once they speak Spanish to you, you've reached that good level. Like once I've played enough music where people come up and they start requesting in Spanish, it's like, oh, I don't speak Spanish. I thought, dude, you Mexican? I'm like, no, I'm Irish. But dude, you're whipping the cumbias. Like we figured. But yeah, it would be that I can see Brandon's app being immensely helpful for getting the exact song. The only thing I don't recall from talking to him, maybe you can clear this up, John, it will take whatever you request against your own database, or will it simply give you the request regardless?
It's pulls from, and I don't remember which database. It's not your own database. It's like an international major thing, wherever he pulled it from. And he told me, like I remember.
Okay. Because I had talked to some people about it, and they're like, oh, I have one where it only uses my database.
Yeah,
and I'm
and
like,
DJ Van
I
don't
want people to know my database.
Yeah.
Like on the surface, it makes so much sense. Like, well, if they know I have these 100,000 songs, they can request from them. Yeah, but now I think that's giving up too much control, because now you can't do what I can do, which is say, hey man, I'm really sorry I don't have that. Well, it took my request. No. It will take your request, and then it's up to me to find it. I just don't happen to have that. Versus, dude, it's your database. It says it on the app. I know you have it. I don't. And I told him that. I said, that's an uncomfortable position for me as a DJ to be in, because I'm ultimately the arbiter of the music. And it's my job. I don't care if 50 people want to hear WAP. I've made a deal with my client in front of her grandparents and her mom and dad that I wasn't going to play that. So telling me 50 times that you think I should play it, that's juvenile. And that's what I liked about Brandon's app. There was a cap as to X number of times. It would more or less alert you like, yeah, we've already had this request. I think that's a big help. Mm-hmm. How did you find overall the implementation Saturday night?
It worked well. We had a very strong internet, which you had mentioned that's a big part of it. If you don't have that, there was free Wi-Fi in the building, even with the cell phone. It had a very good. So it was 2 seconds from the time that you could see where they were doing their thing, and they would push the request, and it's like bink right there. So it was a good connection.
Awesome.
It was used a couple of times with the younger. It was used quite a few times by the two tables that were from requesting Latin music, and then some of the older guests. It's like teenagers, my two Latin tables, and then the above 60 crowd. And it wasn't so much because I think that they were afraid to come up and they were engaging and such. So it wasn't a COVID thing. It was I'm technically savvy and I can do this thing. I think that grandma was wanting to show off that, look at, I can do this just like you can do
make
this.
this happen.
Yeah, it's a pride thing.
Yeah, it was.
I don't blame her. That's awesome that they could and were comfortable with it. My only question is, you started the night by saying to everybody, if you have requests, here this is, or did you say it as, for your requests, use this?
I basically kind of explains, I'm coming around and putting one of these on each table. And if you guys would like to make requests, one way that you can do it is by utilizing this system. If you have a song and you're on the dance floor and you don't want to go back to the table, you can come on up to the DJ booth and talk to us up there. But if you're at the table and you just like, no, I'm not going to walk all the way across that dance floor to get to the DJ, this is an option. And some embrace that. The 30-year-olds, not so much. They were like, hey, I'm right there. So
the Cuban shuffle, as Howie said in the room earlier. Yeah.
Do you guys find in your market you get it? I guess because so much of my business is wedding. The requests are something that I sort of discuss early, like, are you open to guests making requests? And by the way, if you are, I'm not playing a crappy song in the middle of a great dance set. So don't worry if one of your drunk bridesmaids swears that, Bust a Nut by Eazy-E is your favorite song from college. And the brides always laugh and they go, yeah. I go, my goal is to give you this classy, great event. Part of that is your guests wanting to hear something, but there's lines in the sand. And they're like, no. You make those decisions for us. So I'm kind of going in with you can make a request, but I'm not really eliciting it. Do you think in your market, people expect at an event to always be able to give a request, or what's your take on that?
I think up here it seems that requests, some DJs, you can make suggestions, tomato. It's something that people have just become accustomed to doing.
Okay.
And some people, depending upon their age, are very animate that this is what's going to happen, and you will be playing my request. And you get into a point where people, it's come up and, hey, could you throw some of this in for me or something like this? And it's that asking and understanding. If you say, you know what, gosh, I know, Grandma, you want to hear WAP. I realize that it's your song, it's your jam, but maybe not tonight. Maybe not tonight, because the last time you did that, Grandma, it did get a little bit sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I like the drunk girls, and there's always one at every wedding who's like, you don't understand. And they start with like, hey, you've done a great job tonight. But, and here it comes, me and the bride saved the life of 6 kids on a bus once because of this song. Oh, really? It's too bad I don't have it. And I haven't even heard the request yet. It's like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, I don't. I'm so sorry, honey. And they'll walk away and not remember. Did they even tell me? Because I'm like,
sorry.
And they'll come back later, or they'll send the other drunk girl. Oh my God, did you hear the time the bridesmaid and the bride saved the lives of the 67 kids inside of a Winnebago? No, I did. Oh, that one. Yeah. I'm playing that later. Oh my God, seriously? Yeah, 11 o'clock. Oh my God, thank you so much. The event ends at 10. I'm not going to be there at 11. But that's good enough for them.
I don't know about you, John, but I want to DJ in Temecula, California.
Dude, the stress is there. Just saying.
Yeah,
the struggle is real.
Yeah.
The events are run about now because of COVID. We have new rules. Weddings now are a little under 2 hours long for the entire reception and ceremony and everything. And, we do what we do. No, I think, and we've had this talk, I think there's a SoCal vibe of we don't want certain things played that you guys probably play at every event, and they go over well because they're recognized as being great songs. YMCA, I haven't played that in years out here, but yet if I played it in front of 100,000 people, they'd all know what to do.
Yeah.
So there's a reason it's a good song, or it's well known or liked or whatever. But I think, SoCal's, you've lived out here, Brian.
Yeah.
It gets a little like, I want my thing to be better and different, not just different.
I think there's a degree of that no matter where you are. Having said that, I think that maybe it might be a good idea to give people a little more credit for having a sense of humor about themselves. Because if you get the too cool for school clients, no matter where you are, yeah, of course, it's got to be this, 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 and this, But most people, they got a sense of humor about themselves.
Right, and
they're self-deprecating. They'll say things and do things that maybe don't put them here, like, and they don't mind acting the fool. They don't mind listening to silly things.
right.
I have a lot of fun with the silly stuff here with most of my crowds. But what I will say is that it's very important that I make sure that I play the cool stuff first. Once we've been cool and we establish that we're cool, now we can do the electric slide. It's okay now.
Yeah.
If all we did was the electric slide all night, we'd be foolish and goofy. But if we're doing it because we're drunk and it's funny, that's okay. And we do it later. So I don't know. It's just my experience with tracks like that.
Well, and again, you guys have a much bigger window, as does Pulse and other people around the country. I wrote a timeline up today. We're done eating dinner at 7. And we're hitting the dance floor. We still have cake, bouquet, anniversary dance. Their event has a hard ending at 9:50. So I'm a little under 3 hours, call it 2.5 with the other events. I'm looking at that as I don't have a lot of wiggle room to go, whoops, I guess that was a mistake. So I've got that initial half hour to cake where, like you, I try to get a wide swath going. To me, the requests filter in as the night goes on, because for the most part, at least in my experience, most requesters have been drinking. Or they're young and they're sober and they're, running up to you immediately. But as the night goes on, you get that, oh man, I haven't heard NWA in so long. It's like, yeah, you're not going to hear it here either. Like, it's not going to fit with where we are.
I know there was a time that I can remember this happening where I've got a bunch of requests that I need to get out from the client. I've had some requests come in. I've got 45 minutes left on the clock, and I'm trying to get all the songs played.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to, and they're all, I can make them work. I can program in a way where I put them in an order where they completely make sense.
Right.
Because it's all, pretty, homogenized in that regard. It all works.
Sure.
And I've said to people when they come up and they say, hey, can you play this? Like, I wish I could. I am slammed right now. I've got this, and this, and this that I have to get on. So I got to get this handled. And if I can get this handled, which I don't know if I can, then I'll try to do that. It's totally true. But I discovered that no one argues with you when you do that.
Oh, so no, it's the end of the night. Yeah.
Even when it's not true, I can still say that.
Yeah.
If it's an idiot request.
Well, at the end of the night, you have that leverage of, you know what, I'd love to, but I've got 3 songs left, and they're all from the bride and groom, and it's all pre-planned.
That works.
You're going to get 1 out of 5 that goes, F the bride and groom. I don't care. I really want to hear this song. And I'm like, I just can't. That's not going to happen, though. Oh, it's not?
But no. Really, it doesn't matter if there's 3 hours left on the clock or 3 minutes left on the clock.
No is no.
It
sometimes
actually works if you say it like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird.
Well, and people need to, we're not preaching to an audience. We have an audience of outstanding professional DJs and people that are like-minded. They already know the things that we're about to say in respects to, if you're at an event and you want to speak to a DJ, be respectful. Don't go up with, I have to hear, you're going to play, I need you to. You don't need me to do anything. You're a guest at a wedding. Somebody is paid for you to eat, have amazing entertainment, and have a beautiful night as they share and express their love for each other. That's a once-in-a-lifetime event for a lot of people. This isn't you're not at Jimmy's Bar and Grill in Utica, New York. See how I work that one in there?
Yeah.
I'm going to get black. Where do you see my poster for the next show? Just a blank stare. It'd just be like blacked out head.
Something else that I do, just talking about this, and I wasn't even thinking about this. I do it a lot. Going off of what I just said, look, I can't do it. I've got all
I'll play
the songs
Prince.
I have to play. I can't play your song. forget about it. They walk away mad, disappointed, angry, whatever. And then 3 minutes later, I play their song.
You
And
tease.
it's like the ultimate under promise, over deliver. And you look at them like, yeah,
Yeah, you made
Do you happen to notice, though, is what percentage male to female would you say that is? Like 1% guy, 99% women?
I never thought about it. Really.
It just depends on how.
I think it's pretty mixed.
I think with the guy side of it, they have to be like. It seems like when they're really, 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 really drunk. If they're otherwise, I don't have too many guys who are to that point where they're just not going to take no for an answer to a point.
No, that's a girl thing, it seems.
In
At least at weddings.
Yeah, with weddings, I've had more problems with younger women and under the age of 40 when they've had quite a few, not to the point where they're fall over drunk, but it seems like they've got a larger window from drink 2 to drink 8 that they're going to be problematic, where the guys drink 12 and beyond or whatever, something.
I think now that you mention it, if I think about it, the girls do more requesting. The guys are more likely to come up and say, "Can I borrow the microphone for a minute?"
Oh. I am
think.
adamant. Every client gets the same spiel. One of the things you need to understand is there's no surprises at your wedding. I don't care what it is. There's no surprises. You're paying me a lot of money to do a job for you. You didn't buy this microphone. So it's always at my discretion who gets it. That's why I really need you to specify who toasts. Otherwise, we could have a random drunk get up and ruin your night. And they immediately see all those caution signs and go,
right.
no, do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, between drink 2 and 8, as I like to call it, is before we leave the house. So I don't know what's going on there in the Midwest.
It's a California thing. I know. Here we're
professionals here.
Yes, we're professionals.
Jeez.
We don't.
You're like that in Minnesota too. Like you guys are professional drinkers, aren't you?
Some people are, yes.
Well, I'm not me and you're you, but
Yeah. Some people definitely are.
Milwaukee. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's like I think
They're too cool in Milwaukee. It's very hipster.
The baby bottles are full of beer. They don't even bother to put milk.
Okay, very quickly, I wrote a timeline up. My May 1st bride and groom that hired me back in 2020, they've switched it now because since they canceled their August 2020 wedding, they've gotten married and pregnant.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm doing a baby shower on May 1st, and I meet up with them last week, and I'm like, hey guys, so great to see you. Congratulations. This is going to be awesome. They're like, so you've done a baby shower? I'm like, no. But I'll go online and ask DJs some advice and this and that. And one of the games I suggested, because her husband, who is a Los Angeles County sheriff, is like, we're going to be outside grilling, I think, on the patio. And one of the games that I saw was filling baby bottles up with beer and having a drinking contest with the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect, Shane.
Yeah.
Do that.
I'm like, I could probably sell that. Yeah, so now I'm 4-hour DJing a thing, and I'm like, you guys have to open the gifts, right?
We had great advice here.
70 people.
Yeah, this is
for all of you.
This would be great, especially with our under 21 viewers. They're going to be like, hey,
Yeah.
I got this great idea. Where'd you get it from? Where do you see?
We haven't tried to have a baby bottle yet.
Yeah, that's
Or you could try using a straw. That's supposed to help too, I've heard.
it slows it down. And Jimmy did hear you, and he did say that. Let's see, where did he had put it in here? Something.
Tell Jay his headshot is gone.
Yeah, no, he was saying something about you aren't going to make it past the velvet rope at Jimmy's.
In Utica.
Jimmy also suggested that if somebody asks for the microphone, you hand him a fake mic.
Oh, that's a good one. And see how long it takes them to realize it's a red, yellow, and blue like Mattel mic.
Or just hand him a dead mic.
It's a Mr.
Hand him like
Microphone.
a corded mic with no cord on it. Oh, here you go.
There you go for
This works like Mr. Microphone. Go out to your car, go on channel FM 81.3.
Right. 88.9 and you can do it. Yeah.
Hey, girls, we'll be right back.
the T-Pain
Hey,
microphone.
gals, we'll come back to pick you up later.
Okay, you obviously had a Mr. Microphone. Because that's exactly the commercial.
Oh, of
Heck
course.
yeah, I did.
We're from, that was a K-Tel thing, wasn't it? Or not
Oh,
K-Tel, what it
Ronco
it was
K-Tel?
Ronco, yeah,
It's
some of those.
something I might have lived in California when I had it.
And
I can't
they
remember.
were
But it was
hung-
it was neat.
that was pushed a lot up here.
No, I lived and died off the Ronco K-Tel, or at least was it K-Tel that had the records?
K-Tel had records.
K-Tel
but
and
I think
Ronco had records.
They both did, yeah. It would be like the Summer Jams featuring Casey and the Sunshine Band, Steely Dan, Jay Ferguson, Thunder Island, Cheap Trick, like just one after another of amazing music.
Jay's trying to figure out, or I'm sorry, John's trying to figure out how he's going to get us back on topic.
Oh yeah, so about taking. Well, that's why I used to buy those, because you'd get requests like that at an event.
I tied it in. There's the comeback.
That's how I do things. That's how I do things.
Well, see, my goal was I wanted to talk about, those instances where it was tough to take a request, talk about the history, which were the sign-up cards on the table. We talked a little bit about that, talking about how, instant DJ request type of a service, because there are others out there also, how that can be beneficial. We talked about that. Then I wanted to talk about difficult requests and how we handled, the Cardi B type of thing. And Jay hit that. Jay's really hit all the bases tonight. So Jay, thanks much. You can, move on to the next one.
Now I can get past the velvet rope at Jimmy's in Utica?
No, I don't think so.
Where one time a guy that knew the roadie for the first guitar player for Huey Lewis and the News before they signed actually got thrown out of the same bar. That's what I've heard. I saw it on Google Earth once.
Yeah. Well, if Jimmy was involved, that there was no one from Huey Lewis and the News getting anywhere near his bar.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. He's got this thing.
A subtle comment. I beat the crap out of that guy.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
So I don't make a habit of doing it, but I was watching some of my older videos, and the one I looked at was the keynote I gave at the Mobile DJ meetup that you and I were at, John.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and I just, of course I'm asking about signature songs, and somebody in the audience, gee, who would that be, pops up and goes, Huey Lewis and the News.
I thought you said the keynote speech you gave. What was the next line you said?
At the Mobile DJ meetup.
Right, but then the next thing you said to John, because it sounded like you said in Iraq.
No.
Oh, I swear I heard you say the Mobile DJ meetup in Iraq.
We were both at.
That's it. We were both at. It sounded like in Iraq. I'm like, what events is he going to?
It was that.
How am I not getting invited though? That's what I want to know.
Not at the Mobile DJ
meetup. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, see,
but that's safety.
A little east of Wausau.
Yeah. Well, I was asked to speak, and all they said was location: the streets of Libya. And I'm like, well, I guess if you're flying me there,
yeah, exactly. Make sure
and a KFC in Syria, but that negotiation is kind of falling apart. We're not there yet.
Meet up Baghdad. That'd be
Baghdad at a KFC in Syria is the first one.
We'll be there. We'll be there.
Who knows? So
anyway, you were enjoying the suggestion from the crowd, a random suggestion,
right,
from the crowd,
right,
yeah,
right. But the best part was, as soon as you said it, I mean, like it was planned, and maybe it wasn't. I wasn't aware of it. The house DJ plays Heart and Soul, like right on the one, 'cause you's Heart and Soul, like loudly. I forgot that had happened. That was funny.
That's awesome.
I don't think we had. There's no way that.
And then when I exited the stage and said thank you, everyone clapped, and they played Heart and Soul again. That was my exit song.
Yeah,
it wasn't "Be Faithful, Crooklyn Clan," which is what I said was my signature song. It was your song. That was awesome.
yeah. That's. I think we were excited. We didn't talk about that with the DJ. I think it was just someone fast on there.
Yeah, it was cool. It was fun.
I like it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Huey.
Yeah, that was a good.
I like
that. That was so long ago, back when we would travel to places and see people face to face.
Yeah.
Well, we have a show in June, don't we? By you guys?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've heard it's a go.
It's a go.
I have
in Chicago.
A wedding on May 8th, my first. I mentioned that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And I think I also mentioned, I don't know if I said it off air or not, but they're healthcare workers.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did. Yep,
okay. So they've all been vaccinated.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I go in for my second Moderna on April 9th.
Mm-hmm. Oh, perfect.
So, God, this is weird. We're just going to go in there.
Yeah, you can be able to function as a real event.
It's a very small, select group of people because of what's going on.
Right.
So it's a room for like 300, but they're only having 100 in it, and they're vaccinated. So that's just pretty cool. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about our future.
Yeah.
I think where you guys have seen it through much different eyes is location and setups. I have all my events this year 100% are outside.
Right. Very
And
different.
they were 100% outside last year. So people jumped into, we're going to be outside. Don't worry about it. We're fine. But, like, as of last summer. So when I hear people say, like, yeah, we're in a room for 300, but there's only 100. And I'm like, I'm not even inside. Not once.
Yeah.
Not for 2021.
That's a very
Not
different
one.
vibe for you guys.
And a lot of it is because still inside events are still kind of throttled out.
Right.
So I, thank you. All my events are in backyards.
Yeah.
They're at the side of a house. They're in a vineyard, whatever. And everybody's on board.
So, Jay, when you're doing your outdoor events, is there anything you're doing differently to either protect yourself or protect the guests? Or is it pretty much business as usual?
You know what? It's business as usual when dancing starts. Up until then, two of the venues I'm in have a kind of center building that we're not in. It's a home. And what I found is, and I noticed this after a couple weddings last year, I looked on my phone under walks, like steps, and I'm like, wow, 6,300 steps? And I'm looking, going the times, and I'm like, oh, where I would normally walk 10 feet through a crowd to talk to the bride and groom, now what I find I do is I walk all the way around the property. We're not talking acres, but I take the very long way and come up behind people to talk to them and then go the other way.
Right.
I just find that I'm constantly in motion, and it tends to make people not feel like they can come up to me
Okay.
because I have headphones on or I'm walking a lot. That's probably the biggest thing I've done since COVID.
Oh, you've got your
Is
notes.
I've really made a point of having headphones on when I'm spinning, so people have that sense of, oh, he's working, I don't want to go talk to him, as well as just walking the long way around everything. Like, I could literally walk 10 feet, instead I'll walk 200 feet all the way around. So that's been the biggest thing I've noticed. And for the most part, people are good. People aren't really trying to get too close to you.
Yeah.
You figure you've got a 3-foot table in front of you. The downside is they come around it. If we were cut off, if they had to talk this way, they would. But if they did at 6 feet, wouldn't they yell? Isn't that worse than if they come around the side and I try to stop them and be like, oh, hey, what's up? Request or anything? What is it? And I act like I'm doing something. So they start talking where I'm not looking at them. I've said, whether people like this, respect it, don't like it, I don't know, and I don't have the time. I've signed contracts with clients. I've made an agreement. I could break the contract, give them back their money. I need the money to survive.
Yeah.
So if it means me going, wearing a mask, being uncomfortable, doing whatever I need to do, that's what I'm going to do. I don't show any video anymore of my events, nor do I show anything of me at the event, because I'm not willing to be judged in either direction. Oh, you wussy wearing a mask, or oh my God, you're not wearing a mask. So I talk with my clients. My newest clients that hired me for next year, he's a nurse. They've moved their wedding a year because he wants his older relatives to be able to make it.
Right.
And he's like, right now, they're not comfortable. I have one next May. They hired me for May 2019. They moved it to 2020. That immediately got bumped to 2021. They just moved it to October of 2022.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. He's a doctor. She's a nurse. What am I going to do? Give him a hard time about it?
Yeah.
And I've had some DJs say, this is where you can cancel.
Well,
We're going through a very difficult time, and you need to be supportive of your clients, because guess what? Without your clients, you have no income. So if your clients want to bump you a year and you don't want to, and you want to take a few $100 and not see the big picture, that's a business decision you have to make. Mine is, my clients that get married next year have had me on retainer for 3 years.
Mike, you missed requests. You were not here early enough for the show. We talked about it for a half an hour.
Yep.
Where were you, Mike?
I kept that. We were within the ditches when it came to talking requests for that half hour.
We talked 35 minutes on requests.
Yeah, that might be a little longer.
We just stopped talking about requests 10 minutes ago.
We came up with an idea, Mike. Here it is.
Jay Brannan.
That's the new DJNTV logo.
making friends and influencing people.
Yeah.
DJ No Request in Temecula, California. Where have you heard this before? Anybody?
Anybody?
Anyone? Anything?
It's in a movie somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Look it up.
Yeah.
And then watch the movie and laugh. Don't give in. You cannot let them control you. That's a
ever
great
seen that,
idea.
John?
What's that?
It's called The Goods. Have you ever seen
No,
The
I
Goods?
was going to say this is now he's going a direction I've not heard before. No.
It's a movie about car sales. It's kind of like, every 15, 20 years there's a movie about selling cars.
Yeah.
And this movie is about a car dealership in Temecula, California that's having a big sale.
Yep.
And one of the things they do is they bring in a DJ for the sale, and they put him on the roof, and his name is DJ No Request.
Yeah.
And he's up there all day, and they'll scream. He'll be playing something real mellow, and they'll scream, "Could you play something a little more upbeat? Like YMCA?" And it's like, "Dude, I got you. And he'll play.
That's a great idea.
"Oh, swing chariot." It's like, and he's like, and you can hear the monologue in his head. He's like, "Don't give in.
Yeah.
Don't ever play the request. Once they do that, they don't respect you. Once they don't respect you, you lose control.
Yeah,
Never play
don't
the
lose
request."
control. Never play the
very funny.
request. Hey, that's a great choice. I was just thinking the same thing. And then it hit like some dark, dirgy, like real goth.
Apps or something.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, "Hey, man, how about some Leonard Skinner?" It's like, "Oh man, you read my mind."
In my mind.
He just stares at him. It's like, "What time exactly do you get off work?" He's like, "Don't give in. Whatever you do, don't play the request."
Yeah, it's worth it for that.
Yeah,
It's in Temecula. That's the funny part.
that's the best. Yeah, with Jeremy Piven.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Off topic again.
So,
Yeah. Well, we mentioned requests. I don't
hey,
think
by the way, when are you going to put up our shows, man? What's going on?
I
Did we
gotta-
get boycotted?
where are our shows?
I've got
We're not up. Last 2 weeks, they just ignored us.
Oh, so
This is because my agent, Dewey Cheatham and Howe, Jimmy from Dewey Cheatham and Howe, has been having a problem with John.
yeah.
We've been doing shows, guys, just so you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have.
Lots of
Obviously,
shows.
I guess Michael's behind 2 weeks. Then we'll have to get.
Is this MJ Michael?
No, this is my son Michael.
Oh, I was gonna say if it's MJ, I'll start calling him. I'll put him in a
Oh,
month
no,
and a half
no.
behind like
He
that.
must not like, because the Howie Dark Star show goes up.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Howie Dark Star shows up and my show didn't go up. Maybe Howie.
Brian, be like me. Be on Howie's show every other week. That's how I get in there.
That's how you get.
That's yeah.
That's how you get.
I'm becoming the
Howie's
Paul
the key.
Lind of the DJ network. You know what I'm saying?
Always-
DJNTV's Paul Lind right here.
Howie's the key. And good with Howie,
You're,
That's all it takes.
he's the
gets
godfather.
broadcasted.
Yeah, that'd be Charlie Parker or Paul Lind from the Hollywood Squares.
Paul Lynn,
Keep
yeah.
showing up.
Oh my God, yep.
That's all you got to do.
Well, I will,
George Goebel. You
I'll
can be
check.
George Goebel.
Lamb chop. Yep.
Oh yeah, Lamb Chop was cool.
Sorry, John.
It's a good thing we stay on topic, guys. Good thing we stay on topic.
You brought up Lamb Chop. You want to talk off topic?
I wasn't off topic. I was.
Dude, my worst night. I've never brought up Lamb Chop.
That's true. That's true. We went a couple of places tonight. I haven't heard us go before.
We've had some interesting conversations the last 2 weeks, and that's why I mentioned it, because they were actually really good.
Oh well,
Like, we really I felt like I and Jay also and Howie really tried hard to give you some real solid content. And I'm not kidding. I was trying to up the game on it.
Yeah, no, we had some good shows.
yeah. Well, they're still in a can.
And you know where people are watching them, John? The streets of Libya.
that's where they are
Number one, right there with a bullet
so popular on the streets.
or a
Yeah.
landmine or whatever
he
they're,
must not
they're
have
shooting
gotten. He
over
must
there.
not have edited. I haven't seen anything since last week because he finished basketball and now with the.
It's all good. I was just teasing.
He'll get there. So.
There's good stuff coming, though.
Yeah,
Yep.
good stuff. Because Howie had a show last night, so yeah, there's a few of them in a can. You guys are going to get to see drop this weekend.
Awesome.
Over the Easter weekend.
Well, then we'll accept the thank you for extra viewership
It'll be
right
awesome.
now.
It'll
You're
be
welcome.
awesome. It'll be awesome. So, thank you guys for being with us tonight.
Spike in the numbers.
You can go.
coming.
You guys can pop out to djntv.com/chill. So I got to put 2 slashes. djntv.com/chill. And what's really kind of cool about the chill room is it's become a place. Sometimes you go to church to hear preaching. Sometimes on Sunday mornings you turn on the TV and you get some preaching. Tuesday nights you just need to go to djntv.com/chill, and there's Jay.
Preaching. Yeah, I'll be there.
Given. Sorry.
Yep.
There's
I have not been in lately, and that is only due to the fact that I was contacted by FBI investigators about something that happened in the chill room, I guess, and I'm not supposed to say anything else. But now we're all back to good.
Good.
So the guys will be in there in just a little bit. Thank you once again for being with us, and we will catch you next time. Good night, everybody.